Well, good morning and welcome to each of you on this lovely summer day. I'm Jamie Heffer, the Warden of Huron County and the Mayor of the Municipality of Morris Turnberry. And I'm going to begin this morning by recognizing that the land that we stand upon is the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Neutral peoples, and is connected to the dish with one spoon wampum, under which multiple nations agreed to care for the land and its resources by the Great Lakes in peace. On behalf of Huron County Council, I want to sincerely thank Minister Thompson and the Province of Ontario for their continued investment in rural communities through programs like the Rural Ontario Development Fund. The former RED program has played a vital role in helping municipalities like ours create opportunities, grow local economies, and strengthen the foundations that support quality of life in rural Ontario. Here in Huron County, we've used this funding to launch workforce development and farm succession planning initiatives, and that has made a real impact locally. We're looking forward to learn more about how the newly revamped ROD program will build on that success and continue to support projects that matter to our communities. I also want to acknowledge the Enabling Opportunity Strategy released at Roma earlier this year. The County of Huron was pleased to contribute to the consultation process, and it's clear that the final strategy reflects the voices of rural Ontario. Before we move on, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who needs no introduction here in Central Ontario, and that's Mayor Jim Ginn. Jim has been a dedicated leader in his community for many years. His commitment to local economic development, to agriculture, and to rural sustainability is well known across this region, so please join me in welcoming Mayor Jim Ginn.
I do have reading sunglasses, but I forgot to bring them this morning, so I'm going to be squinting as I look out at everyone. So first off, I'd really like to welcome everyone to Central Huron. It's a place we're very, very proud of, and I see a lot of faces in the crowd that aren't familiar to me. So usually every time I speak, I see people that I know 99% of them. So welcome to all. This is an incredible local facility and a fitting place to hold today's announcement. REACH stands as a strong example of what provincial programs like the former RED and now ROD can accomplish. With support from the RED Fund, this building was transformed from concept to reality, creating a hub for agricultural, equine learning, training, and community activity. Today, it's a vibrant space that continues to evolve and serves the needs of the region. So I know some that aren't familiar here probably wonder about the name REACH, and it's actually an acronym. It stands for the Regional Equine and Agriculture Center of Huron. And I didn't coin that phrase. It was my former clerk came up with that one, and it's great. As a rural municipality, we know the importance of strategic investment. This kind of support offered through the ROD program strengthens not only our economy, but the quality of life for the people who live here. We've seen the value firsthand, whether it's workforce initiatives, farm transition planning, or community infrastructure. This funding helps bring local priorities to life. We're grateful to Minister Thompson and the province for their continued commitment to rural Ontario, and we look forward to seeing how the expanded ROD program will help communities like ours moving forward. And I hope everyone noticed we're really proud of this area of our community, the investment that this municipality has made, and investments like this throughout rural Ontario. And it wouldn't happen without funding, and we certainly appreciate it. I will point out to our grandstand, not municipally sponsored or paid for. Completing that, our arena, the REACH Center, down the road we have a new fire hall and an OPP station. So we need these kind of investments because we're becoming a place where people from the city exodus and comes to our smaller communities, and they're used to many amenities that they have in the cities, and and it's our goal to meet those hopes and aspirations of our new residents. It's now a pleasure to introduce someone who has been a steadfast voice for rural Ontario at Queen's Park. Bob Bailey, MPP for Sarnia-Lambton, serves as Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Rural Affairs. Welcome, Bob.
Well, I'm going to try leave my sunglasses off. Hopefully I might have to go back to them here yet. But anyway, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for that warm welcome, Mayor Ginn, and of course, Warden Heffer. It's great to be here with you and everyone else as well today. There's a lot more people here right now than there was at 7:30 this morning. I rolled in a little early. I didn't know how long it would take me to get here, so I had a chance to see the buildings and over there at the arena, and it is certainly something to be very proud of. I have the honor of introducing our next speaker. When it comes to vision, commitment, and getting the job done for rural Ontario, there's no one better suited than Minister Lisa Thompson. You hear Premier Ford talk about how our government is laser focused on getting the job done, on building this province, and how we are working to protect Ontario each and every day. Well, when it comes to rural Ontario, I don't need to tell you folks this, it's Minister Lisa Thompson who leads that way for our rural communities. She is the reason we are here today. Our government has vision for rural communities, focusing on advancing projects and investments that create safe and strong rural communities, support businesses and development, and grow our rural workforce. And she has been the force behind that, what she will announce in just a moment. As her parliamentary assistant, I'm seeing firsthand how she is providing that leadership, transform how we do things in rural Ontario. Her announcements are all about that, making sure that we are shaping a brighter future for small towns and rural communities across this great province. Over the past year, with many consultations, she connected directly with people in small towns, hamlets, villages, and all over rural Ontario to better understand the challenges that they face each day. These discussions provided an opportunity for us to hear directly from rural communities and businesses to learn what they need from us in government to create and retain jobs. What we heard is that rural Ontario is in a period of significant change. New businesses are opening. New people, as the Warden and Mayor both mentioned, are now moving in and helping to revitalize and diversify rural communities. And local governments are benefiting from the economic boost that comes with growing communities and increased tourism. The result of these online and in-person consultations was a strategy that highlights our government priorities for rural Ontario. And from what we are here today, thanks to the leadership of Minister Thompson. And as the MPP for Sarnia-Lambton and someone who cares passionately about my rural community and Ontario, I'm so happy that Minister Thompson is in our corner and that she is the one who is leading this charge. And she is the one here today to make this very important announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce my good friend, a great friend for rural Ontario, Minister Lisa Thompson, if you will.
Well, good morning, everybody, and what a wonderful day to be in Central Huron. And we're joined by so many incredible people, and you've met two of our local champions in Warden Heffer and Mayor Ginn, and you've just met an amazing heart and parliamentary assistant from Sarnia-Lambton, Bob Bailey. But we're also joined here today by another neighbor who really understands that rural Ontario matters. And at this time, I'd like to call upon our Chief Government Whip and Parliamentary Assistant to Municipal Affairs and Housing to introduce some more special people.
We have a big height difference here, Lisa. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here this morning as well, and I know we're the suspense, so I'll keep the introductions, but I know the Minister wanted to ensure that we acknowledged the many people here from across rural Ontario, not just our beautiful western portion here today. So Deputy Mayor of Grey Highlands and Roma Board Member Dane Nielsen is here. Please stand when I call your name. Ward 4 Councillor of Wellington North and Roma 2 Zone 2 Director Steve McCabe, also from the Great Riding of Perth-Wellington. Mayor of Wilmont and Roma Board Member Natasha as well. Solomon, yes. Mayor of Mississippi Mills and Roma Chair Krista Lowry. Eastern Wardens Chair Bonnie Clark. So we've also received multiple supportive quotes, obviously from OCCA, OBIA, Eastern Wardens, Western Wardens, AMO, Roma, Council of Ontario Universities. Wow, Lisa, you're getting a lot of support. And University of Guelph. I just want to introduce everyone and thank you all for being here. It's really a province-wide sort of initiative. And without further ado, now the minister can deliver the good news.
Thank you. Very good. And again, it's very humbling and awesome to have so many people here to join us today because this matters. And I want to point out before we continue into our announcement that rural Ontario knows how to generate a good ROI, a return on investment in dollars that mean something to small town communities. Just behind us is a perfect example. You know, Mayor Ginn, thank you so much for talking about reach. I appreciate that very much. But it's also important to point out, ladies and gentlemen, this has become a hub for the community as well. Not only is it about regional equine and agricultural excellence, but we also see behind us home to the local Montessori school. And we also see Fanshawe College partnering here as well in terms of offering courses close to home that matter for our young people hoping to have good careers right here in southwestern Ontario. The other thing I'd like to share is that just not too long ago, I had some fun because Reach is all about community. And when there was some renovations happening at a local high school, the culinary class came down here to utilize the kitchen. And that too was made a reality through strong partnerships at all levels of government. And because of that, this is a perfect setting for today's announcement. And as I mentioned before, I so appreciate everybody coming in attendance today because we've got a lot of work done under our belt. I'd also like to shout in that spirit, so many champions. When I take a look around the audience, you know, I stand on the shoulders of so many people who breathe, eat, and sleep economic and rural development. And I want to give a shout out to Paul Nichols. You're one of the originals, and Community Futures Huron. And we've got our team from Guelph. Scott Duff is here representing our team. And I've got an amazing team from the Minister's office here. Too many to name, but you know you all matter. And I'm over the moon that we're also able to bring some young people, interns, that are working with our ministry this summer to this riding because rural Ontario matters. And there's no better way to make it pertinent and relevant than being here and understanding and seeing how good investments can generate so much. But with that said, trust, the journey here has been fruitful. It's been absolute invigorating at times. It's been challenging as well because we wanted to take the time to listen, to understand, to ask questions for clarification, and most importantly, ensure that we get it right. Because for those of you who don't know, the Ministry of Rural Affairs and for the Government of Ontario is a brand new ministry. And that is something I'm so incredibly proud of in terms of being the first minister for a standalone ministry focused solely on rural affairs. And we moved together through the last, I would say, 10 months or so, you know, full of hope to strengthen and make sure everyone in this province knows that rural Ontario matters. And when I say strengthen awareness of why rural Ontario matters as well. And we need to do so not only for the people calling rural Ontario home right now, but for future generations, as well as those born in rural Ontario and proud of it. But most importantly, as Mayor Ginn alluded to, those seeking for the amazing opportunities in rural Ontario as well. And I couldn't be prouder to officially launch the new Rural Ontario Development Program today, right here in the heart of Midwestern Ontario. This is an important milestone for our government's commitment to the success of rural communities and small towns from one end of this province, to the other, and it holds so much promise. Starting today, and here's the announcement, starting today, our government will begin accepting applications from municipalities, small businesses, not-for-profits, and Indigenous organizations for the first intake of applications through the Rural Ontario Development Program. It's important to note that this is a $20 million investment over the next 2 years. You know, earlier this year, I had the absolute pleasure of working with Roma, and thank you so much, Krista Lowry, for allowing me the opportunity to introduce a strategic plan that is one of a kind as well for Ontario. At Roma, back in January, we introduced our strategic plan for rural Ontario called Enabling Opportunity. And this particular strategy stands on the shoulders of so many people who took time to talk to us. And all the themes and all the discussions boiled down to 3 key pillars: safe and strong communities, business development and attraction, and strengthening and growing the workforce in rural Ontario. And I might add, it should come as no surprise that the Rural Ontario Development funding streams complement our 3 strategic pillars as well. You know, the Rural Ontario Development Program is guided by vision in our strategy, but most importantly, I feel that people will see, yes, they've listened. This strategy is a centerpiece to how our government will continue to make historic investments in our rural communities. And over the next 3 months, the first intake of applications for the Rural Ontario Development Program will remain open. And our Ministry of Rural Affairs team are going to be available to support applicants across the province. And you know, this team of field staff are amazing. And there's somebody in the crowd right now that knows what I mean, and she's the epitome of amazing. Vicki Lass, thank you so much for helping coordinate today as well. Vicki is now with the County of Huron, but she is the epitome of the type of field team that we have across the province ready to support applicants to make sure that they're hitting the mark and they understand that their applications must support the strategy that we've introduced. And so that support will be available many ways, whether it be online webinars this summer or through one-on-one coaching from our regional advisors. Trust that we are here to help, because we want rural Ontario to thrive and grow and realize its potential that we all know it has. And I also want to make sure that ultimately the goal of the Rural Ontario Development Program identifies projects that absolutely can be showpieces. And just last night when I was reviewing notes and I think about my travel across the province over the last 12 months, I was thinking about all these amazing projects from Windsor through to Prescott County, Prescott-Russell, that's what I want to say, in Vankleek Hill, to Northern Ontario. You know, a fun fact, I went to Northern Ontario in January, and I started in Sudbury and traveled across to Sault Ste. Marie, and they were asking me, why are you coming north in January? Specifically January 6th was the day I left. And so I was quick to show them the pictures of my husband digging out our car after a snowstorm early January. And I said, this is why I'm up north, because there's less snow. But anyways, back to my notes. It doesn't matter where you call home in rural Ontario. Our government is going to make every effort to reach out and make sure people know they have an opportunity to make a difference. And as previously mentioned, to support our vision for thriving rural communities, our ministry remains focused on advancing projects that create safe and strong rural communities, support business development and attraction, and also grow our rural workforce. In modernizing the Rural Ontario Development Program, we've made some key changes, and we're being bold because people took time to share their priorities and their thoughts on how rural Ontario needs to be moving forward, and we've listened. So in the spirit of modernizing the program, we have addressed both who is eligible to apply and to what kinds of projects are now eligible for funding. And I know some people would get a little anxious about hearing this, but we heard loud and clear that all of rural Ontario and small town communities need an opportunity to access this funding, and I'll talk about that in a moment. We also heard that there's a desire for stability and predictability so communities and municipalities alike can plan accordingly. So we've set defined intakes in terms of the windows for people to submit their applications. And the first intake of the Rural Ontario Development Program will allow rural brick and mortar businesses between 1 and 20 employees the chance to apply for funding through a business-specific application stream. I'm very pleased about that. And I'm sure municipalities will find ways to promote this to their local businesses as well. And again, we've identified set dates for intakes, and I think that's something municipalities appreciate as well. I know in deputations in both AMO and at the AMO conference as well as the Roma conference, that was something many of us heard for some time. So we've taken action. So first of all, we're setting defined timelines. Second of all, we're opening up a stream of opportunity for small businesses throughout rural Ontario. And thirdly, as I alluded to, all rural communities will be eligible to apply because rural areas also exist within the larger boundaries of bigger municipalities or upper one-tier municipalities. And I know there's been discussion about this, but I'm so proud of my team. I want to talk about it. You know, we've ensured our government's definition of rural truly means rural. And I want to be perfectly clear. It doesn't mean the City of Ottawa or the City of Hamilton will be accessing these funds. No way, Jose. Yes, but their communities within their municipal boundaries will be eligible. And I know that is something that has been asked for some time, and it's going to be incredibly well received. To tell you the work that went into this, we are going to be extremely stringent in identifying the rural communities that apply from larger tiers, right down to the postal code. And I'm looking at Scott Duff right now. I know it's going to work, and I'm really proud of the work that his team put into it to make this happen. And finally, the last change is that beginning with the intake opening today, the Rural Ontario Development Program will finally, once again, accept applications to fund economic development strategies and plans. We got away from that, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the things that I heard over and over again through my travels was that there are some municipalities that don't have a hope in accessing larger funding streams because they don't have their homework done. They don't have that viability study or feasibility study from which they can build. And so I think of the municipality that I met with in Massey back in January, and it's through their voice, they're making a difference for all of those communities that will benefit from the opportunity to design plans to build on as a strong foundation for rural development. And I'm very proud of that. So municipalities, not-for-profits, Indigenous organizations in rural areas, all will now have the chance to apply for money and funding to map out long-term plans for success. And of course, we'll continue to work with AMO and Roma to make sure we maintain the integrity of the Rural Ontario Development Program. And we also have an advisory committee that we work with that reviews every single application that comes in. Overall, the Rural Ontario Development Program offers more funding through more streams to make incredible investments that will generate significant return on the investment like we have right behind us throughout all of rural Ontario. So once again, I am honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with the amazing people who have made the effort to be here today. Just to recap, I'm so incredibly proud that under the leadership of Premier Ford and our government, we have doubled the dollars to invest in rural development to $20 million over 2 years. We've made some bold changes to make sure that all rural communities across this province know that they have an opportunity to continue to grow and realize their potential. And most importantly, we have identified opportunities to grow and change the program that meet the needs of our communities as well. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. As you can see, this summer is going to be busy. Along with my colleagues, we're going to be traveling across the province, not only to continue to talk about the strategic plan that we have, enabling opportunities, and this new modernized funding program, but we're going to celebrate past successes, just like we have here at the Reach Centre in Clinton. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I thank you so much for joining us this morning. And to close off, just like I always did in 4-H, I always like to give people an opportunity to speak, whether they know it or not. And I am over the moon that the chair of the Rural Ontario Municipal Association has traveled all the way from Mississippi Mills to join us today to continue to demonstrate how important this funding is. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to turn the mic over to Mayor Krista Lowry from Mississippi Mills, Chair and President of the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, after which Warden Heffer will conclude today's program.
So it's really an honor to be here, and it was a beautiful, balmy drive from Mississippi Mills yesterday. So ROMA is the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, and we are the rural arm of AMO, who represents all 444 municipalities in Ontario. And I can say how thrilled we are with the redesign of this program and the doubling of investment in this program. And not only does that show the importance this government is putting on rural communities, but it's also the way we got here. So over the last 12 months, there has been so many discussions. I know my colleagues have been involved with them, and our colleagues around the province have been involved with those discussions. And the feedback that Roma and AMO has given has fed directly into this program. And between the redesign, the doubling of funding, and how we got here, it really shows how much this ministry and how much this government is placing importance and value on rural Ontario. And I think rural Ontario development, it could be rural opportunities, because there are opportunities from north to south to east and west. And I think this program is going to do wonderful things for our communities, wonderful things in terms of community safety, in terms of building up our economies, and further developing the workforces that we need in our communities so that we thrive. So, rural Ontario development, rural opportunities development, I think this is all really good news, and we're thrilled by the announcement today.
Very good. Thank you.
Minister Thompson has left a bit of time in her schedule to take some questions from the press. So if you are a member of the press and would like to ask Minister Thompson any questions regarding the Rural Opportunities Development Program, then go ahead and do so, and she will answer your questions. Okay, all right. Minister Thompson, thank you for championing the needs of rural communities. We deeply appreciate the province's support for the Rural Ontario Development Program and the enhancements that have been implemented. We are fortunate to have a minister who understands the rural reality. We have a minister who listens, we have a minister who engages, and we have a minister who delivers. So we appreciate that so much. So thank you again, Minister Thompson, for your leadership, for being such a strong advocate for our rural municipalities, our businesses, and our residents. And I've been pretty formal up to this point with my notes as Minister Thompson, but Lisa, thank you. Thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. And as we look forward to this program being launched, we certainly look forward to the strengthening of rural communities. So to each of you, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for those that have traveled to be here. Take some time here in county. Don't speed to go home. Just enjoy. This is the breadbasket of Ontario. Take it in, enjoy it, and thank you for being here today.
Excellent. And maybe what I'd like to do is invite all our municipal leadership forward to come and have a group picture. And again, thank you so much for coming, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great day for rural Ontario, and your presence here means the world to us. Thank you so very much. Have a good day, everyone. Stay cool.